Digimon Story Time Stranger's first DLC episode is out, and despite what I suspected when it was getting promoted, no one new got a Digimon partner in the episode, meaning that for the future of the DLC, we might not see any more characters from Time Stranger's base game be given Digimon partners, which is quite a difference when we compare it to games like Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory, Digimon World Redigitized, and others where a lot of humans get Digimon partners. Really, in this game, we only see, obviously, the agent, which is questionable, Inori and Asuna get Digimon partners overtly, besides maybe some other fringe side examples. So I want to take a look at the main cast of Digimon Story Time Stranger, the supporting players, who I think should absolutely get Digimon partners, and what the Digimon partners should be. Happy Holidays! What is up, jolly companions? My name is Karn EX, and welcome back to Karn's Holiday Hootenanny. Oh, it's like 2 weeks till Christmas. Yippee! And if you want to get me a Christmas present, as a reminder, we are so close, less than 1,300 subscribers away from 100k. I don't think we're going to get there till January, but if we can make it happen any sooner, I would appreciate it. And if you're already subscribed, liking and hyping the video on mobile would be massive. Thank you. So for this video, I only want to use Digimon that are actually featured in the game and evolution paths that are actually possible in the game. Much in the same way Asuna's Black Gatomon warps to a Bielstarmon, but we can't warp Digivolve in the game, Black Gatomon becoming Bielstarmon is a possible evolution branch. Though I will throw out some non-game options for flavor where I feel like it's appropriate, however mostly I'm going to focus in on Digimon that are actually in this game, because those are the partners that are most likely if we did get more partner Digimon in the game. And of course this video will contain heavy spoilers for Digimon Story Time Stranger. So as I said, Asuna got a Black Gatomon that warps to Bielstarmon, which honestly is proof that not everyone needs a full line, but I'll do it for fun anyway. And before anyone says anything, Bielstarmon straight up says that you could consider her Asuna's partner, so that is a lock. The DLC featured Kodai Kuremi, but like I say, didn't pair him up with Blitzgreymon and Crescarurumon. They have their own partners that we never see. So it's actually less likely the upcoming DLC episodes will assign partners to Hiroko and Monica, but I will touch on it just in case. And yes, as I said, Inori gets Agiomon, of course, and we never see it in game, which is a big shame, but Mirai would of course still have her Angelomon and Lady Devimon that become Mastemon. So first off, and the next star of the DLC episode 2 is Hiroko. There is a temptation to give her Junomon as the best friend of Inori. Inori gets an Agiomon, which becomes Jupitermon. Hiroko gets a Junomon. However, I think appreciating Hiroko's love of anime and content creation could be a top priority. It would be cool to give her a Mediamon, but man, Appmon is so thoroughly off the table for this game, which is a shame given how many Appmon have names tied to Greek and Roman myth. Maybe given Hiroko's very similar side quest, she could get an Etamon. Both their side quests involve finding copies of them throughout the game world, and I feel like with his mic skills he'd be a great hype man for her channel, and he is in her anime from the beginning of the game. I think the mega I would pick would be King Etamon, very fitting of the superstar Hiroko, and just kind of a funny juxtaposition having this teenager from Shinjuku, who eventually becomes obviously a grown woman from Shinjuku, who makes content and does anime, getting this weird guy in a monkey suit Digimon as her partner. And in fact I would double down on this and have its pre-evolution be Numemon, a bit of a reference to a lot of missions with Hiroko taking place in sewers and the underground, and also an homage to Lily from Tekken, who also got a Numemon partner in Digimon World Redigitized that eventually became a Lilithmon. As for the rookie, Otamamon or Betamon, I'm not super attached. If somehow, despite DLC episode 1 not giving Kodai a partner, if Hiroko does get a partner in episode 2, I can see Bancho Lilymon making a ton of sense, especially if we get a parallel universe version of Hiroko that's more of a Bancho from high school. That could be cool. Then we have Shota Kuroi, who of course is a member of DSAT, or Public Safety in the past, the counterpart to Asuna. I was really disappointed he didn't get a Digimon partner even though she did. It makes sense of course because in the future, 8 years later, as a member of DSAT, he is very anti-Digimon, part of a militaristic group rounding up anything to do with Digimon, pointing guns at our protagonists. And so I do think it would be cool to give him a Darkdramon, the D Brigade of military Digimon being partnered with a DSAT member, the military human group, but given everything I just said, I think Gundramon is a no-brainer, and you can probably see why, but bear with me. Gundramon is also part of the Crack Team, which is another military-style group in Digimon similar to the D Brigade, and we could keep some D Brigade vibes going with some military theming in its evolution branch for Shota by having it go Gundramon from Tankdramon from Tankmon and then Haguramon. Tankdramon of course being a member of the D Brigade. Shota's opinion of Digimon does soften at the end of the game when he is saved by a Tapirmon, and yeah, it would make a ton of sense, very much like a Digimon Tamer style, if he got that Tapirmon too. Unfortunately there is actually no branch in the game where Tapeirmon can digivolve up to a Gundramon. The only way to even get there would be by having Tapeirmon de-digivolve to Wanyamon and then Dodomon, then up to Doraemon and through the line up to Gundramon. So technically you could do it, but it would be a little bit of a all over the place evolution, but you know, it's Digimon, it could happen. Now if you didn't see what I was doing there, giving Shota a Gundramon, you're about to see the picture forming. Because Kodai Kuremi, I'm gonna give him a Magna Kidmon. And 8 years later, an Avenge Kidmon. While not in lore the same Digimon, Magna Kidmon and Avenge Kidmon are separate creatures, with like a vengeful Digimon taking on the form of a Magna Kidmon to become an Avenge Kidmon. I think Kuremi initially getting a Magna Kidmon partner, then it de-digivolving after Ranamon's attack that we saw in the DLC, and then eventually over the course of the 8 years, digivolving back up to an Avenge Kidmon could be really cool, and represent Kodai's fall from this noble guy to a more vengeful guy. I wish we saw more of him in the base game, and even the DLC shows that Ranamon's betrayal was not that deep, I guess. Could have really invested more time into that. Plus, technically the DLC shows a Kodai from a parallel universe who's incredibly similar to the one we know, but technically different, so there could be different elements at play in our universe. For its evolution line of Magna Kidmon, I would have Magna Kidmon digivolve from Metal Mamemon, really just as connective tissue to get us to Blimpmon and Haguramon, meaning that he would share a rookie Haguramon with Shota and have that kind of militaristic, regimented, metallic vibe. Haguramon can also evo off Kaporimon, which can then become Solamon, Meramon, Skull Meramon, and Avenge Kidmon. So you have to go all the way back to the in training, but there is actually a way to unite Magna Kidmon and Avenge Kidmon into an evolution tree. But yes, as you probably noticed by now, giving Kodai Magna Kidmon would mean the 3 prominent public safety officers we see in the game would get all 3/4 members of the 3 Musketeers group. Bielstarmon for Asuna, Gundramon for Shota, Magna Kidmon for Kodai. You could switch up Magna Kidmon and Gundramon, give Magna Kidmon to Shota and Gundramon to Kodai. I just feel like Kodai's got more of that kind of like outlaw vibe look to him, and someone that straddles the line more, whereas Shota doubles down on public safety and DSAT and Asuna moves away from it. Kodai's somewhere in the middle. Very sad that we did not see, given the fact that the 3 Musketeers were promoted to be in this game, and one person already got a 3 Musketeers partner, the rest of the 3 Musketeers partnered up in this game. However, I would also give Kodai a Gankumon just visually, and because a lot of people suspected in a cyber sleuthy way he was going to be Gankumon in human form, obviously didn't end up happening. Speaking of, this universe's Kyoko Kuremi, who is his daughter in the DLC, would absolutely get partnered with a Dorumon that becomes Dorugamon, Doruguremon, and Alphamon. If you played Cyber Sleuth, you know exactly why that's the case. Lock it in. Alright, then is Dr. Kuga, that huge piece of, I'm not going to say it for demonetization purposes. My initial temptation was to give him a Gizmon, given his obvious similarity to Karata from Digimon Data Squad, but that's not in this game. However, a side quest in the future, a fully evil maniacal Kuga releases 13 Kuramon around Shinjuku, a very obvious reference to Digimon Adventure 02, The Revenge of Diaboromon, where a bunch of Kuramon show up in Tokyo, which to me makes it pretty clear that if you got a Kuramon partner, it would become a Sumemon, Keramon, Kudasarimon, Infamon, and Diaboromon, maybe even ending up on an Armageddonmon for Kuga, a suitably creepy kind of digital, straddling that line between the human world and the digital world set of Digimon, and because they are unknown attributes, something that as a scientist he would be looking into and investigating, you know? Then is Kosuke Misono, and honestly, besides Kodai, probably the least likely to ever get a Digimon partner. He seems to despise them for everything he perceives them to have done. I do think a delicious irony would be to give him a Machinedramon, or even the Machinedramon that killed his wife and son, maybe in the new timeline with you and his wife resurrected, or flip that script a little given that his son got a Justimon in the anime prelude, but it warped from Deputymon instead of the standard Monodramon line. Maybe we go Monodramon. Reference Digimon Tamers a bit with Rio and Millenniummon, and Rio's Monodramon eventually becoming a Justimon, just like Kosuke's son's partner, but Kosuke's Monodramon would go Strike-Dramon, Cyberdramon, and Justimon, or maybe All-Force V-Dramon just to shake things up. Another option though that I think would be cool would be the Dark Dramon I didn't use for Shota. As a member of the D Brigade and Kosuke eventually joining back up with DSAT, that makes a ton of sense to me. Sadly, Cyberdramon still can't digivolve to Dark Dramon in this game, so an alternate line for Kosuke would be Toy Agumon, converted from the data Kosuke found of the giant one we defeated in Tokyo, then Tankmon, Tankdramon, and Darkdramon to somewhat mirror the evolution line we gave to the partner of Kodai Kuremi, Kosuke's close friend in DSAT. Disappointed Commandramon and Steelsdramon or even High Commandramon were in this game, to be honest, but what can you do? And finally is Monica Simmons, the doctor, researcher. Super intelligent, amazing woman that I am glad did not go down the path of evil, and technically we could give her a Terriermon assistant. While not recruitable, while you can't evolve into or out of it, little fella is on the couch in Central Town, meaning that it is a Digimon that is actually in the game. Volcanusmon is also super tempting, like make specifically the Olympus 12 Volcanusmon her partner as part of the story, much like how the Black Gatomon becomes Asuna's partner in the story. Their shared love of action figures and nerd culture would be perfection, and it probably just wouldn't evolve because she'd literally partner with the Olympus 12 member that's already at Mega. If it was Terriermon Assistant though, in my opinion, the evolutions can just be regular Terriermon evolutions. I honestly am kind of surprised they didn't just do this. Make a cosmetic or just add Terriermon Assistant as literally the exact same as a regular Terriermon, or the same evolutions and stats would have been pretty easy. So I would have it go to Gargomon, Rapidmon, and Mega Gargomon, kind of advancing and defending Monica more and more as it goes on, maybe using her research data to do that. But it would also be super cool to give Monica Terriermon Assistant to Rapidmon Armor, which I actually love. Her getting the Digi-Egg of Destiny. It's her destiny to be partnered with a Digimon who's a lab assistant, then becomes like a super strong Armor Digimon. If her DLC wave that's coming up that she shares with Asuna focuses on the X antibody, I could also see her partnered with an Omnimon X, as she has a similar vibe, I guess, to Cool Boy, who was most recently seen in Digimon Liberator, but I don't know, honestly. I definitely think Terriermon Assistant is a shoo-in though. Alright, that is it. My picks for Digimon partners for the Digimon Story Time Stranger humans that really should have got them. Giving Digimon partners as a video series is not coming back. I'm sorry, it just does not do well at all. I'm not expecting this one to do very well either. Hopefully it does though, but this was obviously a little bit different. I'm not giving Digimon partners to like Marvel characters or something. This is humans in Digimon that deserve them. If you enjoyed it, please do like, comment, and subscribe down below. It would mean the world, and of course hype the video on mobile. Really helps the videos get seen. It means that I can make more slightly different videos like this one. Thank you to my sovereigns, ZDK14, Chaotic Prophet, Jeremy Babineau, and Lupus Lichlord over on patreon.com/Karn EX, and my channel members here on YouTube. Hope you're all enjoying the early access, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.